Hi everyone. So obviously, as you could tell, Sonny's got some technical difficulties. He's in fact not a chipmunk. It just sounded like one. So I'm I'm trying to take over, but I don't know what Sonny was talking about. So but what I do know is the same thing that everybody else knows. It's we're in the season of the NCAA tournament. We're in the season of NFL free agency, and what we do best is talk NFL. So I'm pretty sure Sonny was going over some of the moves that were made over the past few days, and just had one this morning. So I'm not sure if I'm breaking news here, but for Dallas Cowboy fans that listen in the area of where Sonny is at, they have in fact acquired Brandon Cooks from the Houston Texans. In return, the Houston Texans are going to get a 5th-round pick in this year's draft and a 6th-rounder in next year's draft. So, if you ask me, Brandon Cooks is a guy I think that, just for the Dallas Cowboys, I think he's going to be their number 2, maybe even their number 3 guy. I know Michael Gallup, I believe, is still on the team, so it's going to be a competition between him and Cooks for that number 2 spot. So,
this any better?
There, you're good, Sonny. How's it going?
Hey, doing pretty good. Thanks for taking over for me. I appreciate that. And getting back to you only hit that button there and getting to it. By the way, I don't know how much, so I will download it and reset it, and we'll start from here. Welcome into the Couch Potato Sports Show, along with the MVP Cuervo. I'm Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio. And first of all, I got to put out the apologies, because the MVP of this show was dying to do a show this week. I mean, he was dying, and I had one of those crazy weeks to where I was being pulled in 4 different directions and then work up on top of it. So my apologies go out to the man who was ready to rock and roll. And I normally am ready to rock and roll, especially when you're talking free agency. One of the biggest times of the season for the NFL. And,
Yes.
and we get off on it. I mean, come on. And look at the things that are happening. We're going to talk about them because I got a plethora. New word for Sonny. I learned it here just this past week. A plethora of pictures to put up here on the show today. But I want to get to, in reality, I want to talk about that thing you're wearing right there. That right there. Listen, we talked about the change at the general manager spot in Chicago and what could possibly happen. And Cuervo, talk a little bit about your GM, because this guy has been just doing, I think, great moves for a football team. And then I'm going to elaborate on that in just a moment. But talk a little bit about your GM and what he's doing for the Chicago Bears. It's unbelievable.
Sonny, I'm going to do the best I can to kind of hold back on the compliments for GM Ryan Poles, because I don't know. There's it's about 90-10 as far as love versus not love what the guy's doing.
Mhm.
And to me, the man's on fire. The man is on fire right now with the moves that he's making, the signings that he's made, um, the acquisitions and whatnot. And a lot of teams, and this is no bash at any other team, but a lot of teams that go into free agency, go into
Mhm.
the season, what's considered the new season, with the most cap space in the NFL, a lot of times after the first week, those teams are no longer have the most cap space in the NFL in the league as far as spending money or whatever. The
Mhm.
Bears are still there,
Oh
and
yeah.
they still have almost double what the next team has. So, and you take that in consideration, and then you look at how many guys they've signed. It just tells you how much Ryan Poles values value in guys.
Big time.
So,
I mean,
and,
big time. And
this is
here's
an example right here.
right there. And not only that, look at the monies that are being offered here. Now, when I got this up here, understand that's not the guaranteed money, okay? But this is just the signing of what's going on here. For 4 years, 72 million to get. And I will tell you, that guy was a stud. And I think the Buffalo Bills are going to be very, very upset that they lost this guy.
I think they are too because, I mean, he's a guy that, um, was one of the anchors of that Bills defense. I
Yep.
mean, when you sit and you watch Bills highlights on defense, Tremaine Edmonds is a guy that, I mean, you see him all over the field. And what I liked about him the most is his size. I mean, he's a guy he's definitely gonna play, especially for the money that the Bears paid to get him, Sonny. He's gonna
Mm-hmm.
play the middle linebacker position, no doubt
Absolutely.
about it. So, for people that think he's still going to be an outside guy, absolutely not. He
You
fits.
don't pay that kind of money for that in reality. I think
Yeah.
I get your point up on that.
Well, I mean, and if they wanted to do that, Sonny, they would have kept Roquan Smith. But
Exactly.
instead, they took the money that they would have paid Roquan Smith and they turned it into Tremaine Edmonds and the other linebacker
Right,
that they
two for
wind up
one kind
signing.
of deal working on there.
2 for 1.
Absolutely, yeah, and not only
And a
the
second-round pick.
two, yeah, and this, yeah, never mind that, but and the second one, the 1-2 punch are capable starters in reality when you think about it, as far as that is concerned. And not only that, the stud that they get, T.J. Edwards. Listen, as a Bear fan, if you don't know who T.J. Edwards is, get a hold of some film. This guy, it might be the definition of being a stud there, Cuervo. That guy is a great pickup for you as well.
Well, and you know what? And Sonny, you being a former native of Illinois, you'll appreciate University of Wisconsin Badger,
Absolutely, yep.
and he is from Lake County, Illinois.
That's right. Hey, and let me tell you something. There's some good football talent coming out of Lake County, by the way, just in case people don't understand it. That is, it's almost like Texas, how they got a lot of football players down in Texas, like in Florida, in Oklahoma. Listen, I don't know what it is about that little area out there on that suburb over there, but it does something. And not only that, Cuervo, they didn't stop. In reality. I mean, I think this one might be the steal of the one that they got, by the way, just to let you know. I think
what? I like that signing, Sonny. I don't think that's the steal, though. I don't know if I sent you the picture, but I think let me send you these two. I don't know how fast you can get them uploaded, but these two I really like too. But look,
well, here was the other one that happened this week. Is right.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah. I mean, look at the defense. Send those other. I got to open up my Facebook, but send them through Facebook. But that one right there, that's a big that's kind of a loss in reality. So the Atlanta Falcons getting this guy. It was between him and some other guys that were there. I loved this pickup, but it's really a loss for the Bengals. But this was a money deal in reality for the player, because right now, I don't know if you want to be on Atlanta after you've been with the Bengals, after you've been, to the Super Bowl and then an AFC Championship game. All of a sudden, this is a move. This has got to be a money move in reality, because right now, even with the moves that are going on in free agency, the Atlanta Falcons, even in their own division, are still a problem that everybody is not going to have a problem with. They've got a lot of problems still going on there.
Yeah. Look, Atlanta's got a lot of holes to fill. They still hold the number. I think it's the 8 pick in the draft, so they're right in front of the Bears now. And I personally don't know if I would have tied up $18 million or $16 million a year to a safety. I
Right.
understand, Jesse Bates, and nothing against him. He's a great player. Pro Bowl caliber guy. I just think the Falcons had bigger needs to fill, especially, what are you going to do at the quarterback position? I mean, they were in position, Sonny, to be able to possibly sit down or call the Baltimore Ravens, hey, we're willing to do this. And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
And now with this signing, that really takes a nice chunk of what they had in cap space to be able to offer to Lamar Jackson.
And the Lamar Jackson story is that's going to be a story that is not going to go anywhere. It's going to be one that is always out there. That's going to be
Until
talked about.
Resolved. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and even now, see, I really thought if there was actually going to be any movement on that movement would have happened already. I at least I think it would have happened. I mean, by now anyway, you would think. But so that being said, when you're looking at how this thing is all wrapping up and what's going on, I think there is something there that can, in reality, get a team like the Commanders to maybe take a shot at this if they are actually going to make a move. That's one team, I think, because of who they are, because of how much money they are, because of their owner as of right now, Daniel Snyder, that that could be a movement. But outside of the Commanders, Atlanta was another team I was looking at. But I guess I'm asking, and I might be wrong in asking this, but I'm going to ask anyway because I don't care. He's an MVP, supposedly MVP caliber guy, right, Cuervo? How come all teams are not licking their chops to bring in, Jackson for their football team?
I would say, Sonny, because I think people have concerns about Lamar. And it's not necessarily his health. It's the timing of certain things. So, for example, the past couple seasons now, if I'm not mistaken, when the team needed Lamar the most, he wasn't there.
And I'm talking 2 seasons, 5 games, not there.
Week 16, 17, 18, Lamar's not there.
You got to be there.
He stubbed his pinky toe, whatever it was, injury that he had.
Yes.
He made himself unavailable, or he just wasn't available. And then, the past 2 years they play in the playoffs without him. And so teams are wondering to themselves, okay, you're asking for $200 guaranteed million. What happens week 17, week 18 when you have a knee sprain or rib injury? Are you just going to choose to not try and do what you can to get on the field, or are you going to make it happen? Because at that point in the season, it's all about just making things happen. And the best what the best ability is, Sonny? The answer to that question, the best ability?
Well, I know what it means. I mean, if you can definitely invest, and it's an uptake, it's kind of like an upgrade based upon potential is kind of what I think.
Sonny, the best ability a football player can give you is availability.
Well, that too. There you go. Okay.
So, and that's what Lamar has not brought to the table the past couple of years for the Baltimore Ravens. So, with that being said, the name of our show, teams are not going to commit that much money to a guy that's not going to show up when it matters most.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, week 6, week 7, week 8, it looks pretty, it looks good. Let's say the Falcons sign him out. We're 5-2, we're rolling. All of a sudden, week 16, 17, oh, my ribs. You're in prime position to win the division. All of a sudden, he's out. Who's your backup? Desmond Ridder.
Yeah.
Falcons end their season 3 games. They lose 3 games in a row. They lose the division. Now they're out of the playoffs. Or they barely make it. And he can't play wild card game, and they lose. So teams are thinking about these scenarios in their head, Sonny, and they're saying to a guy that we don't know if he's going to show up when it matters the most, and that is in January.
Those are the money games.
He hasn't done that for the Ravens. So
those are the money games, Cuervo, and there's no question.
Right.
When you don't have a guy that you depend upon, especially in money games. I mean, you say whatever you want about certain players, but here's what I will say: when you start talking the greats of football, you talk about them being there in the money games, meaning that's the ones that get you to the Super Bowl. Those are the ones that get you the big bucks. Those, and you can say whatever you want about what he thinks he wants or what he thinks he's worth, Cuervo. The problem with that, if you're not there during the money games, then you can't, like you said, you cannot be somebody that they can entrust that much money into. And that's where the problem with Lamar Jackson is right now is that his availability is not making him a person that they want to invest in. And regardless of what you think about him, regardless of his winning percentage, regardless of all that, it's money games and the times that are important. And here's one other thing, and then I'm going to let you pop in because I think this is also something you got to keep in mind with Lamar Jackson. Was Lamar Jackson really hurt, or was he doing or making business, doing business? And that is not the guy I think I want on my football team, at least.
And there's a lot of people that have that belief, Sonny, and I'm one of them. Because if you remember, that was about the same time that they did Roquan Smith's extension.
Yes.
And so you think about, so you guys pay him first, and you guys don't want to work on my deal? Hey, you know what? I just can't play. I can't play. So
well, here's the question from one of our guys, by the way, him and me both. I'm going to win, and then Anthony will be in second next year as far as our football picks. That having been said, he puts it out. Is there a system that he would stay healthy? It would have to be a system, first of all. And I actually thought about this like a couple of weeks ago. You need to have different types of offensive linemen. Okay, you can't have the offensive linemen that are protecting a pocket passer. You have to have guys that have the ability to move with Lamar. And if you got these offensive linemen who can't move or can only protect a pocket type of passer, then you have to completely adjust an offense that will work with that. And I don't think it works with lack of better terms, unathletic offensive linemen. Because we all know they're athletic. But I'm talking about guys that can move around. If they're going to be a guy that can just basically stay in one spot and not move with Lamar Jackson, it's not going to do him any good. So is there a system? That system has got to be able to have athletic offensive linemen that can protect him even when he starts moving outside the pocket. And that's hard to find without having to pay for it. And that's another thing. If you pay Lamar Jackson the money he wants, what are you going to do to protect him? So it's a waste of 200 million that Stephen A says that he should get. It's a waste of the 280 that he thinks he should get because Watson got it. If you're not going to protect him, it's not going to be any good. And Lamar Jackson is just one of these guys that it's hard to throw that kind of guaranteed money at because of the lack of success of some of the ones that got it, i.e. down in Arizona. We already see what's happened there.
Mm-hmm.
And Deshaun Watson, say whatever you want about him, he played like dog garbage. Now, granted, he wasn't out on the football field for 2 years, and he played horrible, and they still think he's a top 10 quarterback. Outside of that, teams are getting smarter. And what I think the teams are doing here, the NFL is saying, whoa, whoa, whoa. These two franchises set the bar for quarterbacks on what they were going to get paid with players who have not done anything in this league. And they're trying. I think teams now are turning around saying, no, until you prove it, we ain't paying it. And unfortunately, it starts with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, it does start because he is the guy that will set the new market.
Yep,
I believe he will set
the next
new market, the next move, because it's going to be a constant shift. It's going to be a constant evolving of how quarterbacks get paid. So
absolutely,
and you got guys next year that are going to be up for deals.
Joe Burrow, Herbert.
Yep.
Who's the other? There's one other one that just slipped my mind.
Burrow, Herbert. Well, if Miami decides to keep Tua,
fifth year, depending on how he does, and by the way, they re-signed him. I don't know if I got a placard for that. I may have.
Well, they didn't re-sign him, Sonny. They picked up the 5th year.
Well, yeah, the 5th year they kept that option, so he's going to be a Dolphin. By the way, here's your other two that you're talking about for your football team.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and a great signing here. I mean, you want to talk about, I love what's going on here. I think this one also sneaks under the radar, Cuervo. Sonny, I really do.
Sonny, McHenry, Illinois, Robert Tunyon.
Yep.
Another hometown guy.
Keep it in the hometown. So, interestingly enough, that takes us, quarterbacks who's doing what, why, and why. Okay. Now with the Tua situation, they go ahead and they back him up. They grab a guy that the Jets had, and I'm just going to say it, the Jets had a hard on for this guy, and then all of a sudden now they don't. And which tells you that they were talking to the media with a bunch of BS in reality, right? Where they're this guy's going to be our guy. This guy, here he is. Now he's going to go back up Tua in Miami. I by the way, I found that one very, very funny. Just to let you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, $8 million for Mike White. I think that was a bit much to give him, but Miami likes him. They stole him away from a division opponent, so that's. I think they did that because they know that there are going to be times in the season where Tua is just not going to be available. Especially if. With the head injuries that he's had, I think they're expecting Mike White to start a few games this year.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe that's the reason why they paid him more. If they were going to get him, maybe they, and you have to keep that in mind, especially in your own division, what's going on. So, here you go. Why do you do it? Because there's 2 Super Bowls, Anthony. I mean, come on. There are 2 Super Bowls. They make the Kansas City Chiefs relevant again.
I think what he's asking, Sonny, is why not give guys like Lamar Jackson the same kind of deal that Patrick Mahomes agreed to? Well, here's the thing. Not everybody's going to want to do a deal like Mahomes did. See, Mahomes has shown that he is committed to being a Chief for life. These other guys, they don't care where they play. They just want, as the younger kids say, they just want the bag. They want the money. That's all they care. They don't care who they play for, Sonny. They want the money. That's all they care about. Now, Mahomes, on the other hand, yes, he got paid very nicely, but he was
$500 million baby.
but he was also committed to wanting to be a Kansas City Chief for life. You know,
Not only that,
not many guys do that.
Not only that, they're going to throw another $300 million at him after he won the Super Bowl. So that dedication, that kind of performance, and that kind of proof that can get done, it makes him very valuable. And we always say it. I mean, you can have a Lamar Jackson, and you can have a guy that wins 70% of your football team games, which he does. In other words, when Lamar Jackson's out on the football field, they got a pretty darn good chance of winning a football game. Now, but the question is what does that do in the long run for you? Okay. What does that do? Does it get you to the Super Bowl? Does it make you the money? Or, but the fact that he wasn't in for the last 5 years or 5 games this season and missed the playoff game the year before that, 5 games, it's kind of amazing. 5 games, kind of, at the end, because we always say it on this show in reality. If it's not getting you into the playoffs or getting you deep into the playoffs, okay, at least get you to the place where you're playing for the AFC championship. Maybe not getting you to the AFC, but at least playing to get to it. The value of you at a quarterback, regardless of what you've done during the season or what your history shows, it's all about the now in the NFL. The NFL is a now league, and the reason being they want to put asses in seats, okay? Never mind all this, never mind everything else that they're getting paid millions. If they get asses in the seats, that's just more money. They're going to get money even regardless what the attendance is, but when you get that extra added bonus of attendance, makes a big deal as well. And when you're going deep into the playoffs, that means there's usually more asses in seats, just usually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So, and certain guys do make that attraction for teams, and I think wherever Lamar goes, he'll be that guy, even if he stays in Baltimore. Ravens fans will go to the games to see Lamar.
Or how about hey, put him with the GOAT. I mean, listen, this is a perfect opportunity in reality. And if those that are listening, Lamar Jackson to the Patriots, okay? Do the Patriots become the automatic division favorites if Lamar Jackson goes to the Patriots? Well, the answer is no. But does it make them an automatic shot in the playoffs and maybe get back to the Super Bowl? Now that could be something, Cuervo. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, I'm surprised. That just depends on Bill Belichick's trust in you. Okay. So when I say I'm surprised Bill Belichick has not made that move, because I think that would be a great move for the Patriots. And by the way, could probably get him, but no, probably couldn't get him because they're not going to money bag him. And that's the problem with maybe not getting him with the GOAT. Because the Patriots will not money bag Lamar Jackson, regardless who he is, regardless how many games he's won in the regular season, because the Patriots ways is all about what you do to, first of all, get to the playoffs, and then how deep you go into it.
Right. And, the Patriots are also known, they're not gonna give big time deals like that. It just doesn't happen. Not with that team. And, maybe things have changed now that, Brady's not there anymore. Gronkowski's not there anymore. Maybe that's what has made it a little different. But to me, I still think the Patriots are a team that they're not going to pay top dollar for guys. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, because they've never done it before. They're just not gonna do it, and unless you've done what Tom Brady does. And by the way, underpaid all throughout his career. Now, granted, he's getting it on the end. Robert Kraft's still writing a check to Tom Brady for the next 20 years, if I'm not mistaken. So there's that up on top of it. But during the playing time, you're talking about a guy that took pay cuts and everything else, and Lamar Jackson's already made it about him, and which, by the way, I'm not against. Okay, I'm not against the guy going out and get the money. I'm against the guy going out to get the money that you want to go ahead and get, but haven't been able to prove that you're worthy of it yet. And that is a huge word when I say worthy, because I know a lot of people think, and especially Stephen A. Stephen A. has got some mad love for Lamar Jackson, especially since Lamar kind of officially made him his mouthpiece and everything else. So you got that going on. So I love what's going on there. But I don't know if in reality, if you think about it, Lamar Jackson, what's going to happen with him in the Patriots? That should be very interesting if they decide to go that route. Would he consider it? So some other shocking moves. Okay, all right. Now you can say whatever you want, but I think the Eagles made a mistake. Now, granted, understanding what running backs mean to your football team, okay, you got to put them on a pecking order on where it's going to be, right? Who's going to be the one that's actually going to lead the team? You usually don't give it to the running back, right, Cuervo? I mean, that went away, what, about 7-8 years ago?
Yeah.
Contracts out of the guy. But if you're the Eagles and you can't mainstay Miles Sanders on that football team, I want to know if this is, because I don't know the details on this one. If he's not getting a lot of money, this was a big mistake. And even if it is a lot of money, I think it might still be a big mistake.
Yeah, I think the Panthers, definitely forked some money out to him. Yeah, so 4 years. You ready for this, Sonny? 4 years, $25.4 million. So you're talking over $6 million a year, which is, I guess, that's not too bad. Including $13 million guaranteed and a 5.9 signing bonus.
God, I'm just throwing it out there. That's cheap. That is cheap. And if the Eagles didn't match it or didn't want to match it, I don't know what. But if you're the Eagles, you got to be pissed at yourself you might say, "Oh, just let him go," and then a couple of days later, go, "God, that was a mistake." And I think that's what's going to happen here. They're going to miss this shot. Now, granted, didn't they get your boy Montgomery?
No, not Philly. No, so Philadelphia, they let Miles Sanders go.
Right.
They paid $6 million a year. So then what they did is they turned around and they took Rashard Penny away from the Seattle Seahawks.
That's what it is, Rashard Penny. And that, if he can stay healthy, I guess if you're going to fill it, but man, Sanders, I don't know. I think Miles Sanders proved that guy should get $7 or $8 million a year. I think this is going to be one of those decisions for the Eagles. We're going to find out a little bit later in the season on how much this really affects that football team in reality.
Yeah, I would say, I think, especially for a guy that was in and out of the lineup all season, I actually think the Eagles did the right thing letting him walk away. Now I know what you're going to say. Rashard Penny is another guy that can't stay
in and out of the lineup. Same thing.
But they're only paying him like $1.2 million.
And how they get him for that cheap, I don't know. But hey, by the way, there's your boy.
There it is. Yep.
There it is. Going to the Lions, which in turn, you talk about the Lions. I mean, the Lions are making some moves. It's almost like they believe their own hype. I'm putting that out there, Cuervo, because everybody was on the Lions and loving what the Lions were doing. It's almost like they're falling for their own hype, and I don't know if they actually should.
Yeah, I feel bad for them because whenever they do kind of start putting it together like they are right now, it's just, I don't know if it's some sort of curse or what, but it just falls apart. I mean, you went from, you had Barry Sanders,
yes,
couldn't get to deep in the playoffs, Super Bowl. Then you had Stafford and Calvin Johnson, couldn't get past the wild card round. Now you got a guy in Dan Campbell who's really got this team believing in themselves, playing hard. You got Jared Goff, who's not the greatest quarterback, but he's serviceable. He's a guy
Super Bowl. I mean, say
that runs
whatever
that
you want
offense.
about Jared Goff. Jared Goff, he was in the Super Bowl, right?
He did play in the Super Bowl, yeah.
Yeah.
He sure did. So
and he had a great season last year, by the way. I mean, by his standards. By his standards, and also the Lions were loving the fact that they got him. So I think it's with all the quarterbacks that were moving and stuff, how the Lions almost kind of stayed pat. And I don't know if that is something that they should worry about. Lions fans should worry about the fact they stand pat with Jared Goff. Now, granted, they're getting Jared Goff for a pretty good price because LA's still paying for some of the contract. So I think that's one of the reasons why they stood pat. But there it is, Cuervo. The big news of the week in reality, right?
Yeah. It's not official yet, but it's most likely heading that way.
I see now. Interesting. I did not necessarily know it wasn't. I thought it was. I thought I read somewhere it was. Maybe they were in anticipation that he was going to sign, and it's because of why, Cuervo? Because of he wants some other things along with him in order for him to get the job done. And we're talking about guys that he knows his type of style of play that he's got a chemistry with in reality. And we're talking, of course, about wide receivers he wanted.
Yeah, well, so the Jets did wind up signing Alan Lazard, who was his number one guy in Green Bay the past couple of years.
By the way, great pickup.
Yeah, $11 million a year.
That's a big price tag, but it's a good pickup.
4 years, 44 is the total of the contract. But the reason that this thing is not done yet. So let's start from the beginning, right? And I'm not going to go all the way back to the beginning like Aaron Rodgers did, but so he on the Pat McAfee show, which I don't know if you listen to him, Sonny. It's a good show. I don't care what anybody says.
Well, the problem, here's the reason why it's good. He takes the fandom inside himself, puts it in with his experience as a football player, and we can relate. Those that love the Pat McAfee show can relate to Pat McAfee because he's part fan, part past player, and a player that, yes, played the kicking position, but he was a stud at the kicking position. So
he's an awesome punter. He played for the GOAT. He played with Peyton Manning.
Yep. A couple of years. He caught on the end of the tail end of that. But yeah, he played a couple of years with the GOAT, and he's respected. So you can be a fan, have the opinion, and still go out and be respected at the same time, which is really and also whenever he gets ready and resigns, he's also a pretty good commentator for WWE SmackDown, which I think
I've watched a few highlights of him being on SmackDown.
Not only that, he wrestles. He's actually quite good. So
listen, Sonny, when you've played in the NFL, you've got your own podcast on YouTube, and you got the chance to not only drink beers with Stone Cold, but get stunned by him. That's a full life right there.
Absolutely.
Full life.
Yes. So, I mean, he's done about 7 different things that people wish they could do one. So, it is what it is. And by the way,
on College Game Day on ESPN.
Yeah.
College football season. So guys all over the place.
By the way, some changes coming up here within the Couch Potato Sports Show here soon. So to kind of give you some.
Wait, are we getting Pat McAfee?
What?
Are we getting Pat McAfee on the show?
Oh man, no, not Pat. although our resident Pat McAfee, Tom McManus, I don't know. In case the people don't know, Tom McManus has been coming on this show for 12 years, Cuervo. He's been coming about 2 or 3 times a year, and he loves it. He actually sent me. He really wants us on the Relevant app. We might take a peek at trying how to do it because of what we do now compared to the relevant app. So because of all these great graphics and stuff and the one that you're looking up right there, it's hard to do on the relevant app. So we're trying to justify how we're gonna do that and stuff. So
Yeah.
but
So real quick. So here's the reason why the Rodgers thing isn't done. The Jets and the Packers are still working on compensation.
Okay.
That's why it's not a done deal yet. So it's like a staring contest. The Jets they're staring at each other, the Jets and Packers, I mean, see who blinks first.
Yes.
As far as, are the Jets going to take the less amount or are the Packers willing to give up more to
Get rid of them.
Get rid of them. Or I'm sorry, did I say that wrong? But anyways, you get what I'm saying.
Yes.
Who's going to budge?
Right.
As far as compensation, is it going to be the Jets or is it going to be Green Bay?
Do the Jets become the favorite in the AFC East, or are they still going to have to battle Buffalo?
Yeah, I think so. I think they become the favorite because I think their defense is more established.
And God, and by the way, we didn't call each other before this except what time you wanted to do the show. And that's exactly the reason why, more so, because Buffalo's had a couple of losses. Just we showed you one of them, a couple of losses on the defensive side of the ball that might have an impact on how they play the game. And then what does Josh Allen got to do to make up for the loss on the defensive side of the ball? And I know that sounds stupid to say, but when you lose a pretty good part of your defense, you have to make up of that somehow. And so far, Buffalo hasn't, on the defensive side of the ball, replaced him in reality. So that means Josh Allen might have to do a little bit more, which means maybe get another field goal and or touchdown each game. And that could be a problem for him.
Yeah, well, here's my thing about Buffalo too is, Isaiah McKenzie, the wide receiver, is testing free agency.
Yes.
He may not be back in Buffalo.
May not.
All right. On top of that, I have a question for you.
About
Josh Allen. It's about Josh Allen.
Okay.
Because I'm starting to build this narrative in my head about him.
Oh, wait. Hold on. I think I know where this is going. Where's my pen? I have 900 pens, and I can't find one of them unless there's one on the floor, and that's out of my reach. So,
he's got 99 problems, and a pen is one. Pen is one of them.
I can't find one damn pen. I cannot find my damn pen, and I used it not more than 10 minutes ago. All right, but go ahead. Now you'll try. I think I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
Is Josh Allen a regular season quarterback?
Yes. The Lamar Jackson winning 70% of his games, but what have you done in the playoffs?
Right.
But
I think Allen is going to be that guy where, kind of like a Phillip Rivers. Well, they got their own guy like that in LA with the Chargers.
By the way, wants to come back, in case you didn't know.
I mean, I've heard about that, but I don't know if it's going to happen. So
I don't know either, but
yeah, he's just a guy that, puts up great regular season stats. He's a great regular season quarterback. Come playoff time, gone. I mean, he folds. He becomes a smaller version of himself, and I just don't know if Buffalo's going to win with him. They got the talent around him, and I just don't know. I don't know, and maybe this is the Peyton Manning effect, where it took him a while too. It took him 7 years before he finally got there and got it done.
Broke through.
But you know what? Allen is going on his 5th year now.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, the difference. Okay, so let's do this real quick. The difference between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. What is the difference?
I would say
they're the same 5 years, same 5 years.
Right.
And what's the difference? Why is everybody really high on Josh and not high on Lamar Jackson?
I would say they're high on him. I think the team around him, I think people trust Buffalo more than Baltimore, the teams. But
Uh-huh.
also I think the character thing, Josh Allen, he handles his business a little bit better. Let's just keep it real, right? We're gonna keep it real, like Chris Rock on this
Yeah,
show.
like Chris Rock
Josh
like to
Allen,
say.
he handles his stuff the same. And Anthony's right. I think Josh Allen, I think Justin Herbert's a better comparison, but if
Well,
you
but
want to use
Justin Herbert
Lamar,
hadn't been in the league for 5 years yet, so that's the reason why I'm making the comparison.
I
Because
think he's at
like
he's at four.
keeping it real as far as those two are concerned.
I
I
think it's a
mean,
1 year. I think he's been in 1 year less than Josh Allen, so he's coming up soon too.
yeah,
So
Herbert is.
Burrow and Herbert were in the same class.
Yes, those are the two that are going to come and set the market next year because there's not a team that's going to let Lamar Jackson set the quarterback market, and you can blame whoever you want, okay, and you can make any excuse of what you want, but those two contracts, that being Deshaun Watson and Kyler Murray, setting the bar. And the NFL, I think ownership is going, whoa, we need to pump the brakes here. We can't let these kind of guys set the bar. And I think this is an NFL thing. I think this is an NFL owner thing. And I think it is. And here's another thing. I think it's exactly what they need to do. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. Because once you start paying guys that have not proven that, and they get that big money deal on that guaranteed, you see them. How many times have we seen the big money guys just take a nosedive and not become the superstar the money says that they are? Not that what people think of them, but the money says they're super. How many times have we seen that? And in the NFL, and the markets that pay after success are the ones that get the most money worth in reality.
Mm-hmm. So here's my thing, and I think we're seeing it as it's evolved, as it's happening firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
This is where it hurts Lamar Jackson that he. This is where it hurts Lamar Jackson that he doesn't have an agent, because he thought he was going to be able to get his bag
Mm-hmm.
on his own,
Mm-hmm.
by himself, by
Mm-hmm.
strong arming business owners that have been owners
Mm-hmm.
since he was in diapers.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just be honest about it.
Right.
He thought he was going to strong arm them. That's why a lot of people believe. I'm not saying it's happened. It's allegation.
Yes.
That's why a lot of people believe that collusion is going on in the NFL right
Oh,
now
there's no question.
with Lamar
Absolutely.
Jackson. No, like I can't say for sure. I don't talk to owners in the NFL, but
Common sense says this, Cuervo. There's no question.
and you know what? I want the yeah, I said it.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So you want me to put that up for you then?
Yep, because
All right.
I'm gonna just say it. I'm gonna say it how it is. If
All
there is
right.
collusion, hey, you know what? Yeah, I said it. If there is collusion, so what? What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah. How are you going to stop it?
How are you gonna
Exactly. How are
stop
you
it?
going to have? How are you going to stop the guy's buddy who plays on another football team from picking up the cell phone and saying, "Yo, what's going on? Yo, we want you over here. This is what they'll offer." It's
Who's
just
gonna
because he can't do it officially doesn't mean that the message isn't getting delivered. There's no question.
Yeah, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna suspend those owners? They're gonna fire them?
Yeah.
They do
Nothing.
anything to them.
Can't do
What are
it.
you gonna do to them?
Absolutely nothing.
So yeah, there probably is collusion, like you said. I
Absolutely.
don't know for sure, but there probably is, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Common sense says that if you watch watch the NBA and how those contracts are getting done, right, Cuervo? All right, they're talking to each other, and that's what's happening and everything. Well, do you think Josh Allen will not be a bill for the long term? And the answer is, oh, he is the long term. He is the long term. Now, I'm not saying that it's the right thing, but I'm telling you, the Buffalo Bills, yes, have a love for him, and yes, he's going to be the long term. Whether or not it'll be successful, whether or not they should really think it, we can debate that all day long. But I'm telling you right now, they think Josh Allen's part of it. And let's be honest. Josh Allen is one of the better mobile quarterbacks at the dual threat. Now, I didn't say he was the best mobile quarterback, did I, Cuervo? I said at the dual threat. He's got the better arm. He gets the ball down the field. He's more accurate downfield, throwing the football. And who is getting better is Lamar. But the simple fact of the matter is that when you look at what Josh Allen has done just in a short time, from a franchise who has been lost in oblivion, Cuervo, let's be honest. I mean, the Buffalo Bills were not a football team that anybody has been afraid of before he stepped foot on that football field. And that's the difference. Now, you look at Lamar Jackson, he won 70% of his football games, but the most valuable thing, availability. Josh Allen's there, Lamar hasn't. So that alone, and the potential on where they think he's going to be able to take the football team.
Yeah, and I do agree with you. I think Josh Allen has the best balance as far as a dual threat. I think he's the most well balanced quarterback in the league right now.
I think you're right. I think I'll say second because I think Patrick Mahomes might be that guy.
But I think
I see what you're saying.
I think Allen just by a smidge is a better runner than Patrick Mahomes. I think.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
And I'm talking by the slimmest of margins.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I can see just a little bit. See,
like that. Like as thin as a piece of paper. Okay. I mean, it's like 1A, 1B.
Right.
I give
absolutely.
Allen and Mahomes. I mean, they're good. They're both good runners, but just the way that Allen runs with a little more intensity.
Yes,
that's what I like about Allen. He's got the size for it. But as far as arm, I think, I mean, Allen and Mahomes are like right there next to each other. They're right there with each other. So, now I'm not saying Allen's a better quarterback. I just think he's just smidge better
all around. Listen, there's all around, and then there's a guy who wins Super Bowls, right? I mean, come on. All around, and if you can include the Super Bowl, that's great. In reality, by the way, Bryce, you think Bryce is happy today?
I think he's okay with it. I
think you're right. That's where I would have went on that. As far as would Bryce be happy? I think he thinks that Patrick Peterson can be a leader, and then what they can get from on the field, if it's more than they expect, they win on this kind of thing. I think. I don't know. I would love to get his take on it. And since we started early, I thought we'd see him.
Say in the chat, all he said was, "I like the move."
Yeah, he didn't sound overexcited at all. He is just acknowledge. In reality, I think he just acknowledged the move more so than because normally if he has something to say, he'll say it and he'll put it in words. In reality, because he can. When he writes, I listen. He's like he's the button of chat. Because when he writes something, I and listen to him when he comes on the show. But when he writes something about somebody, I'm definitely got my ears open because this guy, I don't know how he breaks down football so well. He just does it 10 times better than I do. But it is what it is. But but the fact that he didn't really go into too much about it kind of makes you kind of wonder about it.
Yeah, that's true. Well, because here's the thing. I mean, Patrick Peterson is a guy that he's not old, but when it comes to NFL years, he's long.
Is he on the other side of 30, as they always say, especially for defensive players? I think he's on the other side of 30.
He's lost a step.
Yeah.
I think he's still a guy that can be an effective corner, maybe not shut down like he used to be. But I do think what I do think where the Steelers made a mistake was letting Cam Sutton go.
Yes. Where did he end up at, by the way?
Oh gosh,
Or did
I
they
want to
just?
say was it Carolina?
I,
Carolina's been picking up a lot of people.
oh yeah, they've been
I
picking
want
up
to
a
say it was
lot of key
Carolina,
players
but I could
because
be
I
wrong.
think they're. I think Carolina's not looking at this year. I think they're looking next year. That's where I think Carolina's
Well,
looking.
you know what?
Well,
They're an
obviously they
example.
went guard. They're on the clock right now. So there you go.
They are on the clock right now. Which have we talked about that yet?
Hold on a second. I don't want to waste it. It took me time to put it together. Here's your potential offense.
Potential.
Potential because Ezekiel Elliott's not there, but I think he's going there. So I think that's going to be
Really, you think he's going to go to Buffalo?
well. Zeke's got a lot of landing places in reality. I think Buffalo's one of them.
You can scratch Chicago off that list. He
I
ain't
don't.
coming.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
not
want
going.
him.
I didn't make the picture.
No, I know. I know. So I'm just saying.
I think the two teams that he's going to go to, it depends upon what Cincinnati thinks about their running back. They love him, and I always said that he's overrated. Maybe picking him up, but this is all about money in reality. Zeke got his money from Dallas. So he knows where his value is and how much he's going to get. So Joe Mixon should be quaking in his boots because why? Zeke is an Ohio boy. Okay. So people got mad love for Zeke over there, but Mixon has got the love of Ohio and especially Cincinnati because how long he's been there. So I think this is I think that one's an interesting place to be there as far as that is concerned. I think that's a good lane. Oh yeah, here, Cuervo. Here it is, Aaron Rodgers. I forgot to make this full size, but there's some they got Alan Lazard, so that's going to happen. He wants Mercedes Lewis, Cuervo, and Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb is the guy there, but he also wants Mercedes Lewis in reality, and I don't think that's happening.
You can scratch that, Sonny. Aaron claims that is not true. That wish list that supposedly is out there that he wanted.
Okay.
He claims it's not true.
I don't believe him because he's been a lying sack of shit for the last 3 years. So I can't believe anything comes out of his mouth. And by the way, even though he gets up on the Pat Menefee show, he's still full of shit on there as well. By the way, just
Look, he very well could be. All I'm telling you is that he denies it.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and murderers do that on the sand all day long. I swear to God, I didn't do it. But that being said, hey, in Green Bay, they're going to start a new regime, Cuervo, and they're going to bring in, not bring him, but get Jordan Love all set and ready to go. The guy they brought in to replace Aaron Rodgers, and now. Interestingly enough, you read this, it says Jordan's made huge jumps, especially this past year. You can see it in practice. He can do this at a high level, but if you go back not more than 1 year, people were bashing him for it, and I don't think you can turn your opinion around about a guy who doesn't hit the field week in and week out and be the guy. You can't change that opinion until you see it out on the football field.
Yeah. And I say this with a smile on my face. Packer fans don't know what they really have with Jordan Love yet.
No, they don't.
So
and not only that, they might not know it for 2 years because listen, he's just like Brett Favre. Aaron Rodgers, just like Brett, because why? Because Brett Favre said, "Listen, I'm not gonna teach this guy how to take my job." And Aaron Rodgers is that guy too. And you can thank Brett Favre for that, which, by the way, I think is okay. So that part of Aaron Rodgers' feelings, I'm okay with. Because, listen, the guy wants to make his money. The guy wants to start. I'm not going to teach someone how to take my job. I mean, we already seen how that worked with Fitzpatrick when he's sitting in meetings after they demote him, showing Tua how to play the quarterback position. He said, I sat in 8 hour after they pretty much demoted me off the football team. I had to give all my secrets away to Tua. So Aaron Rodgers wants no part of that in reality, but there's a lot of film on Aaron Rodgers. He's seen it straight on, and Aaron Rodgers became Aaron Rodgers, not because of Brett Favre, but Aaron Rodgers became Aaron Rodgers because of what he learned from Brett Favre without the communication. And if Jordan Love didn't pick up on that and had not been paying attention to Aaron Rodgers, that's only on him.
Yeah. I mean, look, you can ask all you want, but these guys aren't willing to, hand the keys to the next guy.
Yep.
What are you going to do? What are you going to say?
That's going to happen all over this year, Cuervo. That right there, Cuervo. That's going to happen all over because what you got right here, Andy Dalton,
Red Rifleman.
So and then what? Then. And these are teams that are going to be going after their guys in the draft and everything, right, Cuervo? You would think.
I think this Brissett signing is it's interesting.
Yes, I do too. One. And I can't believe I'm going to say, Cuervo, I can't believe I'm going to say what I'm going to say. I don't think this is a bad move at all in reality when you think about what the Washington Commanders are. Think about this football team. They don't have a quarterback. Say whatever you want. And by the way, who's bashed Jacoby Brissett more than Sonny Clark? I don't think anybody has. This was a good move. Why? Because of where they are as far as their franchise is concerned and what they are going to try to do to improve it. Now, Jacoby Brissett is going to win you some football games. Now, he's also going to lose you some. But he is not the worst case scenario until you find the guy that's going to land in that seat. And so Jacoby Brissett just becomes one of the better backup quarterbacks in the NFL if they decide to go the young guy route or they find their guy who they want, which I don't know who that is in reality. I mean, I don't know what Chico's thinking. I don't know what the Raiders are thinking. They got a new offensive coordinator over there as well. So I don't know what the Commanders are thinking, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, the Raiders are good now. The Raiders are set.
Well, yeah. Hey.
Your boy.
Yeah, my boy. And listen.
Your boy.
Listen, I'm telling you right now.
I'm telling you right
now. Does that just not look good? I mean, just the picture alone makes that look good. I mean, it's almost like this is where this guy was supposed to go, Cuervo. It's almost, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to become a Raider fan. I love me some Jimmy G.
Oh my God.
Sonny loves himself some Jimmy G. I might become a Raider fan. But now,
order your jersey now. Order the jersey now.
I'm thinking, no. I did order a jersey, and I'm going to premiere it as soon as I get it. It's going to take some time to get it, but it's not Jimmy G. So I'm going to tell you, I ordered a jersey. They said it was going to take 3 to 4 weeks because it's a personalized, specialized one. So it's just to kind of give you a heads up on that. I ordered it.
Okay.
But that being said, of course, that's the name of the show. Jimmy G in Oakland take away everything that you want to talk about Jimmy G. And just throw what's his name? What's the wide receiver's name there? Devontae Adams on it. Okay. Say whatever you want about that. 70% winning quarterback, which Jimmy G is, 68.7. Okay. And then you throw Devontae Adams on top of it. You don't think that's going to happen? You don't think that's going to win some football games? Just that pairing alone? Based upon what Devontae Adams can do. Okay, listen. I think, what was it, about 6 years ago? Yeah, it was 6 years ago when Devontae Adams was asking for the big money, and Sonny said that this guy's not worth it.
I was not exactly right.
I might not have been right about that. Okay. Because obviously the success that they had with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, now they didn't get the success in the pairing, the love affair that they were going to get, based upon last year. But Cuervo, this is Jimmy G, I think, will help this team. Why? Not because of what he brings to the table. It's the combination of putting him with Devontae Adams for one reason.
Don't hold back.
The yak is going to be unbelievable because they're going to set the place up for Jimmy's strength that's within 20 yards and let Devontae Adams get the work done. And they will work on the deep ball. Don't get me wrong. I don't want anybody to think, because I agreed with you, didn't I, Cuervo? That his deep ball, but they will have some plays for that deep ball, and they will try to figure that out. But where that success is going to come from, as far as Jimmy G and Devontae Adams, it'll be within 30 yards in. So 30 yards in, you can't question Jimmy G's 30 in. You can suggest it's not great after 30, but 30 in you can't. I saw a crazy number that he completes 78% of his passes within 30 yards. It's disgusting. Okay, when you got that and you got Devontae Adams, it changes the whole look of that sure. pass play. And that being said, also is that they just need someone to deliver the ball to a Devontae Adams. And I think that, well, obviously with their new head coach, obviously Josh McDaniels, this was a match made in heaven in reality. And I saw it coming. I didn't want to say anything because I usually take it, and I usually have Bryce telling shut up. He did with his little answer when I put it up there. But that being said, in that division of football, you got Patrick Mahomes. I don't think you're going to get past Kansas City and winning the division, but you've got to get to the playoffs if you're going to do what you're going to do, make it to the Super Bowl, whatever the case may be. This might have been the right pairing in reality, not because I love Jimmy G, because I did. I love me some Jimmy G, but based upon the history of Josh McDaniels and what Jimmy G did with the Patriots while he was there, this just sets up for some kind of success. Will it be Super Bowl success? I don't know. I doubt it. Okay. But making it to the playoffs and maybe making a push for it in the next 2 to 3 years, I could see that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's no secret that, Jimmy and Josh McDaniels have a history going back to when they were in New England together. So, I think.
By the way, didn't want him to go. Josh was the one. Josh was like, no, we don't need to be getting rid of Jimmy G, and they did.
Well, there were other egos that got in the way of that.
Yeah, and Josh's ego wasn't big enough in the totem pole. Not because it wasn't big. It's just who gets what they want.
Yeah, exactly. So, Josh McDaniels didn't get what he wanted. So,
Jimmy got it now. So you better do something because it's all about the playoffs, right?
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
And that alone. I mean,
the best way to get in the playoffs is to win your division. So
you got that exactly. And they're not going to, and we all know they're not. We already know, hey, Kansas City's got to fall flat on their face in order for them not to win that division, which means, can the AFC West do what the NFC East did last year, is not just get one, not two, but three within the division into the playoffs? I mean, just by looking at the talent alone of all of the teams within that division, you go, that's the next one that quite possibly could get three within the playoffs.
Well, and that we thought that last year.
Yes,
we thought the AFC West was loaded last year, and somehow, it just wasn't.
The love of David Carr, I think, made that by certain people. I've never been a Derek Carr fan. Which, by the way, I don't care how they handled the Derek Carr situation. I know. Okay, listen. Before I say it, I know that people think differently than I do. But the fact that they, everybody, they disrespected, Jimmy G or Derek Carr. I'm just saying, why am I even worried about it? In reality, this guy's a football player. We pay him to do what we tell him to do, not what he wants to do. And the fact everybody was so appalled about that move, I was sitting to thinking,
This is total BS.
since when does the player dictate what's happening out on the football field when you're not successful? And that's the key part of it, Cuervo, is when you're not successful. He's been there 9 years. Back to Janet. What have you done for me lately? Nothing. So the fact Derek Carr's gone, by the way, where did he sign? The Saints? I mean, does that help that football team? I don't know. I don't know. Does it help the Saints?
A little bit. Yeah, I think it does a little bit.
I think it does too, but I think it's about this right up here. I think it's about this right here. And it's not Derek Carr. It's about his main wide receiver. Where's the head, Michael Thomas? Because, listen, you want to talk about a guy who's been doing business for the last 3 years of the NFL seasons? Michael Thomas has been making business decisions, not football decisions, because they haven't had a quarterback since they lost Drew Brees. And I think that's a full business decision, which is the reason why I don't like him. You go out there, you play balls to the wall. If you're a stud, you're a stud, and it shows up. But now, that being said, the Saints re-signed Jameis to back up Derek Carr. Why, I don't know. Because you want to talk about two different sides of the spectrum of who these quarterbacks are. Jameis Winston is not a Derek Carr. So I don't understand the backup signing at all. Because believe me, there are many players out there that you could back up a Derek Carr with that type of player. So I'm missing the signing on this one.
It doesn't feel like it kind of feels like, okay, what offensive scheme are they running when you have your starter is a pocket style passer and your backup is more of a mobile guy, like a dual threat type guy. So it's like, which one doesn't fit right?
Exactly.
Which quarterback is more fit to run that offense. And I think a part of me, I can't believe I'm going to say this. A part of me almost feels like Jameis Winston's the better fit than Derek Carr.
Interestingly enough, I was thinking the same thing.
Interestingly
enough. The problem is I don't think they can sell the players on Jameis Winston. I think I get what you're saying. As a fan looking at this, but listen, they haven't been fighting for Jameis Winston to be the starter in New Orleans, have they? I mean, how many years has he been there? He's been there 3 years now, right?
It's going to go on 3 years, yeah.
Yeah, no one is breaking down the door saying, well, if Jameis ain't starting, I'm looking somewhere else. When you got a quarterback that's a stud, you got guys doing that, saying that, and standing up for the guy. And say whatever you want. I mean, the guy's a turnover machine. Now, granted, the last year in the 33, the infamous 33, that was a head coach that said, "We're not making the playoffs. Just get the ball. Just do what you think you can do." And that's the reason why you don't see quarterbacks do what they do. You see coordinators saying, "No, do this." In reality. And that's a classic example of what that's all about, because you can't tell me for more than 10 seconds that the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was saying, yeah, Jameis, go do that. You just can't convince me of that. I've seen too many of other ones out there. This was a business decision that was made. They weren't going to win. And what they were trying to do is create a market for him so they could get something for him. So that was, and the only thing that they proved is that Jameis Winston does have some arm strength. Outside of that, accuracy and all the other intangibles on it, you didn't get with it. You only got arm strength, because that guy can throw the football. There ain't no question about that.
Yeah, he can throw it deep, but it's not accurate. So
yeah. Oh, but interestingly enough, Baker Mayfield, I'm sitting here going, even though this is his third team now, his third team. This might be the right place for him if they are going to start him, if that is the plan in Tampa Bay, because you got a 1-2-3 wide receiver punch. If you give Baker more than one guy, I think that could actually help Baker. And I'm not saying Baker Mayfield's the best thing come along since fruit punch, but if he's got weapons, I don't know. I think maybe he can deliver the ball. What do you think?
Yeah, it's gonna be his fourth team, by the way.
Fourth team, got it. Fourth team.
Yeah. You know what? I think Tampa got a good deal.
I do too.
I think they got a pretty good deal with this one.
Former number one.
Yeah, making $8.5 million.
I think they're stealing him. I saw the contract. I thought if I would before I saw the contract, Cuervo, I said in my mind that Baker Mayfield was a $14-15 million guy.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I looked at it and going, if you need a backup, you're going to have to pay for a good backup now. Which, by the way, guess what? You're paying for good backups now. You're not just paying $2 million and getting the San Francisco backups, okay? They got lucky, okay? Say whatever you want. The backups that happened over in San Francisco just worked out perfect for them. It doesn't work that way in the NFL. What happened in San Francisco was a complete and utter fluke, by the way, that right there might tell you something. Finding a little talent that can hold you over until you get your guy back. But interestingly enough, that signing right there, San Francisco is one of those other football teams that can definitely put some trade bait on Brock Purdy and maybe get rid of him and get a real quarterback. Now, when I say real quarterback, I know what Brock Purdy did. I know what Brock Purdy did there, Jenny. I watched what they did for the last 8 games, Jenny. I know he won football games, so don't get me wrong on that, okay? But he was also Mr. Irrelevant in his first year. Give me defensive coordinators over Brock Purdy any day of the week coming into his second year. And they got film on this guy. So guess what? Especially if the teams know they got to play him, they're going to be all over that, figuring that out. So, but I'm going to tell you right now, the movements that are going on, Baker and Tampa Bay I think is actually a smart pick. And I wouldn't have probably said there are too many teams that would have been a smart pick for him. I'm not saying for the team, but for Baker Mayfield to have a 1-2-3 punch to throw footballs to just makes it really, really good for him. Unlike Jacoby Brissett, I don't know what he's going to get, Cuervo, but I still think it was a good move for him because this guy's going to start week 1 in reality, unless there's some kind of crazy move. Or how about Indianapolis? Indianapolis. Look at this, $3.5 million for Gardner Minshew. And listen, everybody was saying Gardner was the guy. The Philadelphia won't get rid of him. And guess what? Boom, he's gone. Which Gardner Minshew is not a good quarterback in the NFL. He's just not. If you want success for long term, Gardner Minshew is not the answer. So obviously that pickup, for Indianapolis was a backup. Who's going to start for that football team, by the way? Do you know? Did they pick up someone and I'm just forgetting about it?
No, they didn't pick any, just Minshew. But I think the starter might not be on the team right now. Well,
that's, it's funny that you think that because there's a couple of them out there that might or could be gotten. And the reason why is that Mr. Moneybags holding the ball. If they offer somebody, some money, they might get it. And listen, the fact that Lamar Jackson hasn't signed and the fact that Indianapolis has not put out some money on it because they're not really a bright organization in reality. I mean, look at their owner. That enough tells you that. But the fact that the owner hasn't put that money out there already.
Yeah. Well, I think the Colts want to draft a quarterback. I just don't think they're going to get the guy that they truly wanted. And all
Who do you think they truly want, Cuervo?
I think they want Stroud. And I think they should want Stroud. But I don't think they're going to get him.
So you don't think they're going to get Stroud?
No, CJ Stroud will be gone by number 4.
You think so? Okay. So you think the guys, obviously the Panthers being that team, since they are on the clock, which is a great segue. How are you feeling about this movement for the Bears in reality? We didn't get a chance to talk to you because you weren't there when it happened. This was huge for the Chicago Bears.
Did I tell you what I think? Big smile on my face. Look, Sonny, here's the thing. A lot of people think that the Bears struck too fast. They rushed into making the trade.
Yeah.
Ryan Poles, the GM, made it very clear. He liked what he was getting. He got what he wanted out of the deal. Why not make the deal? Because sometimes what happens is when guys get greedy, when GMs get greedy, it's kind of like if you watch the movie Draft Day with Kevin Costner.
Yes.
Hey, you know what? That was 30 minutes ago. We live in a different world now. Remember that? Remember that line in the movie?
Great. Yeah, it was. That was, by the way, great line in that movie.
So who's to say that if Ryan Poles would have waited until, I don't know, let's say 2 weeks before the draft, after teams have already signed a bunch of free agents or whatever. Hey, Carolina, you still want that number? You still not want number one? Yeah, we'll give you number one. Or we'll take number one. We're willing to swap picks with you, and we'll give you a first and a second, and that's it. Because, we've already filled other holes in our. Well, that's not the deal that we had talked about a few weeks back. Yeah, well, that was a few weeks back, and you just never know. You just never know.
Things change, baby. Things change.
I think Poles actually did the right thing before free agency hit, because you don't know where teams are going to go with signing free agents. You strike the iron while it's hot,
right?
And he got an amazing deal for the number one pick.
I think he did too.
And I think what put the cherry on top was getting DJ Moore in return.
Oh God, it was. I don't think there's any question it was DJ Moore that and frankly, this is just what I think how it went down, Cuervo. Now I don't have any backward. I think he said, let's just see what they say. Because I don't know if he went desperately out there to get this guy, but he was like, well, since we're talking about it, why don't we just see? Let's just see if they'll do it. I mean, that's almost like saying to your buddy, so I'm going to go back into Sonny's egg. Okay. All right. I got a George Brett card, but I got backup. I'll just throw out what I could get for this George Brett card. And I think I almost think that's part of the thinking in reality on this particular deal in reality, because I think it was almost perfectly executed, which is the scary part of that whole thing. They were going to be able to get it, and that probably, even if they didn't get DJ Moore, I still think that was a good trade for them. Okay, in reality, you take more out of the whole thing, and you're going, yeah, that's actually pretty good. Do that, and then you get him up on top of it. That's unbelievable. And you're talking about the cap place. Now, I tried to edit this as much as I can based upon how long it was, so I had to kind of do it. But you're still getting the numbers. You're still seeing the numbers on where teams are in reality as far as the Bears are concerned, and you're right there. What we're talking about is spending your money wisely and getting what your needs are.
Yes.
Now throw in the fact, Cuervo, guess what? The landscape of the NFC North has changed, especially with the idea of Aaron Rodgers going away. We don't know what we're going to get with Jordan Love. We don't know if Kirk Cousins can lead the Minnesota Vikings to a good season like they did last year again. We don't know where the Lions are, for crying out loud. They act like they want to be contenders, but are they contenders? So what I'm saying is the NFC North is a division that can be got. And even with these moves, and even with not necessarily have the quote unquote chemistry, if it could come together in some portion of the season, depending on what other teams are doing, that division could be gotten week 18.
Yeah, and I think it will be one of those divisions where it's going to come down to week 18 to decide who's going to take.
I think you're right.
And I don't know if it's going to be these guys, but I would like to see that happen. I just think there's still work to do. There's still a lot of work to do.
A lot of work.
As far as,
I mean, if the Bears make the playoffs, this is a successful season. I don't care what 100%. Anybody says. You can say, even with the moves that are making, guess what? Teams don't come together until they bend together. Okay. In reality. So if you can get together to get to the playoffs, that's a win for the Chicago Bears. That's a win, regardless. And I don't know what their schedule looks like. I don't know, who's coming into town and who's doing it. I only know they got 6 within that own division that right now, I guess you could say, with the movement of Aaron Rodgers, that maybe Minnesota is the front runner for that division. Maybe depending on what Jordan Love can do, maybe they're second. But maybe if Jordan Love doesn't pan out, you got 2 teams that right now are supposedly in the market, that being the Lions and your Bears, that could slide into that second spot and maybe slide into the playoffs. I mean, if you want optimism, if you're a Bears fan, you got reason for optimism. Maybe not for this year. And if you get somewhere, that's cherry on top of the cake. My God, but 2 years, depending on Justin Fields, development, you could be looking at a Chicago Bears team that could be very good with that type of quarterback. And if they figure out how they're going to do it offensively, the Bears might be a tough out all year long. I think they already are a tough out all year long, because if you show up thinking you're going to beat the Bears with the new acquired stuff that they got, you're definitely thinking wrong against the Bears. And yeah, I said it. I'm rough on your Bears, right, Cuervo? I think if you go in thinking you're going to beat the Bears, you're crazy, because you're going to have to beat them. You're not going to just be able to show up.
Well, yeah, and I think half the battle is complete. I think the Bears are going to make one more, good signing. I think I know who it's going to be. I know who I want it to be.
Who do you want it to be?
I want it to be Yannick Ngakoue, and I know you're familiar with him.
It's good. Is your boy going to pull the trigger on that, you think?
I think for the right price he would.
Well, that's the problem. I don't know if he's going to get the right price. I think that's my point. I don't think he's going to get it for the price he wants to pay for it.
Then you know what? Then the Bears ain't going to get him, because Ryan Poles. One thing about him, Sonny, he will not, under any circumstances, he will not overpay for a guy. That's why you saw Mike McGlinchey go to another team.
I saw that. Yeah.
Orlando Brown Jr. go to another team. You saw, some of these other guys that the Bears were rumored to be interested in signing and all of that. They wind up going to other teams. You know why? Because Ryan Poles is a very disciplined GM, where he will not, for the greater of the good, he will not overpay for a guy. He won't do it. And it's not that he's being cheap. He's not being cheap. See, a lot of people think that, they don't understand the difference between being cheap
and smart
and getting value.
Yep.
Signings. And even though, Tremaine Edmonds, $18 million a year, that is still value, because the middle linebacker position is a very important position on a defense.
And surprisingly enough, I think he could have got 20 million someplace else, Cuervo. I'm telling you right now, I think he could have got 20 million someplace else. I do.
And you're probably right. But you know what? I think he sees the vision that the Bears have as far as moving forward. And I think Tremaine's like, yeah, I want to be a part of this. And so, and even DeMarcus Walker, who I'll be honest, I wasn't even familiar with him until I started reading about him. I was like, whoa, 7 sacks
Maybe.
with the Titans. He had a breakout season. And so when he was asked, was and I hope Colin Cowherd's eating a plate full of crow for this.
Well, he's
Because
been eating crow for a lot of things lately, just so that you know.
well, you know what? One of them is that, he was adamant that the Bears were not going to have an interest in free agency. Guys were not going to be interested in coming to Chicago because Justin Fields doesn't create that market. And what's the first thing that DeMarcus Walker gets asked? Hey, was because of the quarterback in Chicago, did that play a part in you deciding to sign with the Bears? And he said, absolutely, without hesitation. So I heard that from Walker. I heard that from DJ Moore. He's excited to be a Bear. I've heard that from I think Edmund said it too. These guys want to see what they can do with Fields at quarterback.
Interestingly enough, I'm going to tell you right now, the quarterback position signings this week, it was crazy.
There's another one.
There's another one.
I think that's a good deal too for the Eagles.
I think this was the right signing in reality. Now, whether or not Marcus Mariota can swallow his pride and stop moving, out of the ones that happened, Cuervo, I think this was the right signing, because all you got to do is look at the list on who was signed. Okay.
Yeah.
You can go to Jacoby Brissett, okay, and say, okay, that's an okay signing. He probably can start and maybe can win the game. But think about this, Cuervo. We talked about Jameis, right? We already talked about him resigning. Is that good? Dalton, is that the guy? Sam Darnold. And then look at this. The Atlanta Falcons signed Tyler Heineke. Now, think of those guys we're talking about, Cuervo. These aren't Super Bowl quarterback team players. These are not Super Bowl caliber quarterbacks. Why these teams who think they're going to try to make a play and try to win football games are signing? No offense against Marcus Mariota, Sam Darnold. I mean, Jameis Winston. I mean, how do you go into the season and go, yeah, we're feeling pretty confident? Boy, you got to make better moves. I mean, my God. I mean, especially if Tyler Heineke starts. Especially if Sam Darnold starts. Especially if, Andy Dalton starts. Now, granted, we know what's coming from the Panthers. So the fact that Darnold, okay, is going to be wasn't he with the Panthers before?
Sam Darnold was with the Panthers before, yes.
Now he's back.
No, Sam Darnold's with the 49ers now.
Oh, no, it's Andy Dalton. Okay, it's Andy Dalton. There it is. So, and there's another one, Andy Dalton. You're signing guys that, I don't know. The idea to get up over the hump, there are teams out there screaming, we're not ready for this season. One of them is Atlanta. The other one, believe it or not, is San Francisco. Okay, that's signing because they don't know where Brock Purdy's at. Okay, so the Panthers don't know where they're going. The Saints think they know where they're going, right, with their signing with Derek Carr. So they think they know where they're going. Jacoby Brissett signing. These are teams that are saying they're already throwing in the towel before they even get started just by that signing.
These guys signed a backup quarterback too.
Who was it?
So the Bears, it's almost like the Chicago Panthers, now, because not only did they trade for DJ Moore, not only did they
get Walker. Is his last name Walker?
They signed Walker.
Oh, yep. Man.
Here's the
Hey,
thing, Sonny,
sometimes
though.
it's not what you know, it's who you know, and DJ Moore probably had a hand in that.
I think so. But here's the sweetest part of it. 2-year deal, $5 million.
Oh yeah, they're stealing in reality, based upon money. And then you got the Gardner Minshew. I mean, these teams are
That's
out there
another good
showing.
deal.
It's a great deal, but is Gardner Minshew going to win you football games on a consistent level? Of course not. But it is a good deal.
He won't need
In
to.
reality.
He's not going to start. He's not going to
But
start.
as of right now, some of these teams don't have a clue what they're going to do at the quarterback position, and they're going to try to talk their way this offseason about how great they're going to be and how good they're going to be and all that other stuff. And we all know they're full of crap. So it's just like, it's just really interesting to see how the quarterbacks, the marginal quarterbacks, are doing. Which, by the way, they're not getting the big money contracts. We see that. I mean, so that's good for the franchise as far as not spending the money, but more in the fact you got to know what you got at the quarterback position before you get into the season. And if you're questionable at the quarterback position, you're questionable to make the playoffs. Simple as that. And so. Interestingly enough, by the way, I saw this one. I thought it was an interesting signing out there. Juju gets his Super Bowl ring. Now he's heading to, the place that, makes these kind of moves, and there's usually successful. I wonder what the Patriots see in Juju Smith-Schuster in order to sign him. Now, granted, hey, the money, here, let me put that back up there. The money I don't think the money is really outlandish in reality if you think about it. I think if they paid him $15 million, I think they would have been out of their mind. But on average, you're taking $11 million on Juju, and he's a Super Bowl wide receiver. Say whatever you want. Big part of that team. Say whatever you want. Obviously, we know who the superstar was, but Juju was number 2. So, a perfect spot for him, right? Cuervo, we always argued, was Juju ready to be that number 1 guy? And by the way, he wasn't. And he only proved it in Kansas City because we knew who the number 1 wide receiver was, which was Travis Kelce, even though he's a tight end. So, in his element and what he does, I think that's a good signing. But the question is that I don't know who the number 1 wide receiver is in New England, and if it's now Juju, I worry about the New England Patriots even being competitive.
Well, I kind of do too, because is he enough? Is he enough to get Mac Jones to another level? Because here's the thing, so they signed Juju, but then they decided to let Jacoby Myers walk. He's going to go catch balls from Jimmy in Vegas.
Right.
And they're getting paid the same. So it's really interesting how...
Listen to this. Devontae Parker, Thornton, Byrne, Slater, Bowen, Trey Nixon, Ty Montgomery, Raleigh Webb. I mean, Juju's the number 1 on this team, and that can't be good for them.
Well, hands down. Yeah, he's the number 1 receiver. But what I do like what New England did, they also picked up Mike Gesicki from the Miami Dolphins, if you didn't hear about that. The tight end.
Say that again?
Said no doubt that Juju is the number 1 receiver. But what I do like that the Patriots did is that they signed Mike Gesicki, the tight end from Miami.
I got that, yes. Yeah, I got that.
I think that's going to be a good signing. I think it's a $9 million deal for 1 year.
No, that's Mike White. Where's because I had the picture on that one. I think that's actually a good signing too. It helps. In reality, it helps. There. Is this? Yeah, here it is.
And I don't think $9 million is grossly overpaying. I think
I don't think so either.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe could have gotten away with 7, but Who am I to say, right? I'm not a GM.
Well,
so
here's the thing, Cuervo. In that offense that they got going on over there, I mean, I think that was a talent not being utilized because they had so much talent elsewhere. Waddle, Hill, all that. By the way, Hill, did you see Hill win the indoor 60-yard dash? And not only that, blow him away. Did you see that?
that was so ridiculous. I mean,
That
Tyreek Hill
is,
didn't even. He barely tried to win that, and he still.
I know.
blew him out.
That was going to be my point. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I don't even think he broke a sweat, for crying out loud. And he blew them away. Now, if he actually stays in and does that, that guy's going to win a gold medal somewhere if that be the case. Holy crap. And I don't even like him, and I think he's going to win the gold medal if he gets in that race with anybody.
He didn't even open up his stride all the way.
I found that completely and utterly amazing when I saw that. It was amazing. So, yeah. But wow, what a week. I mean, I mean, there were so many. There's no way I could keep up with it. It started. You sent me the first picture. It was Sunday night. For God's sake, I think you sent me the first picture. I was like, holy smoke, is this already starting? Well, the answer to that question was yes. So here's one I missed. Didn't get this one. And I think Denver made a mistake, Cuervo. I think this was a bad move for Denver. I think, and now granted, this was a money move for him. But for the chance to play for, oh man, I don't understand. I almost don't understand the signing. I mean, I don't know what the offer was from Denver, but DeMonte Jones in Seattle, I know they overpaid for it, and I get it. But man, what's Jones see in that football team that that says, well, I could maybe stay in Denver and take a little bit less, and I got Sean Payton, a Super Bowl winning head coach, should have been in the Super Bowl more than once, kind of player, more so than Pete Carroll, although he's been in one Super Bowl. There doesn't seem to be enough talent in Seattle. Yeah, I just said it. I think this is a bad move for him in reality. This is a money move.
This is definitely a money move. I think that this kind of shows what Denver wants to do in the draft. But I just don't know. They don't have the
Cuervo. They just turn the cards around. They're already telling you who they're going after. What they're going after.
Well, here's the problem though. They don't pick until I believe the second round. So
I know, and I don't know why you give that guy up or pay him a little bit more money to stay, knowing Sean Payton's coming into town. How they could not sell that to this guy, I don't know. But the simple fact that, or at least talk to him and say, hey, listen, we'll get you on next time. But next time if it doesn't work out, then you could go. But how do you go? How do you go from Sean Payton? And what Denver quite possibly could do to go to Seattle. I just don't see the attraction outside the money. So the whole thing just kind of.
Well, the other thing too, Sonny, I don't know if the Broncos could afford to keep him. I mean, you see how much they dropped on the offensive line this week.
Right. Well, they had. Come on, Cuervo. They had to do that.
Well, I'm not saying they didn't. I'm just saying. 2 big-time signings, 2 big-time contracts.
Yes.
I'm telling you, it's a top 5 offensive line in the league.
When I was looking at it, I said 3. They might have the 3rd best offensive line with the pickups that they made this week. And that's what they need. Okay, you need someone 100%. To protect that guy who everybody seems to think he lost. Could play the quarterback position anymore. Those signings for one more second, Cuervo, is what those signings were. 1 second each play, and that 1 second. That 1 second is a big. It's big. It's huge.
It can make a huge difference. I was telling I told the wife. I said, with these guys. Because she doesn't know guys by name on the offensive lineman. She don't know. She just knows Russ. That's what she knows.
Yeah.
So when I showed her and I told her about the signings, I said, I'll translate it this way. Russell Wilson can sit in the pocket. He can eat a bologna sandwich,
Yes,
maybe take a 5-minute nap, and still have time to throw the ball.
that's huge. That's what that 1 second is too.
You know, that's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yes. And I'm telling you right now, I don't think this is a bad deal either. Cuervo,
No.
I think this was actually a really good pickup in reality.
Yeah, I mean, $5 million a year, five
Nothing.
million guaranteed.
Yeah, nothing.
You know,
Well,
not bad.
and they didn't have to restructure some crazy contract, right?
Not like these guys did. Not like these guys did.
Not like that guys. They had some work to do in reality, or they were. I don't know. Does that restructure really help the Browns? I mean, because I'm not sold on Watson. And see, if I can't get sold on Watson, I can't be sold on the Browns at all, because they're going to lose. Who'd they lose? Was it Clowney that they lost?
So yeah, Clowney's gone.
That's a bit. Say whatever you want. Sometimes that guy's injured and everything else, but that guy's a stud. And wherever he ends up signing and everything, they're going to be glad they got him.
Yeah, Greedy Williams.
Williams too. Yes.
Too.
Crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
But did the Eagles?
That's a big one.
Did the Eagles make a mistake?
No. I think the 49ers might have.
That's why. Well, they overpaid to get him. I forgot the number. It was big time money. This was a money pickup, a money grab for him. But he went to a contender in reality, if you think about it. Because say whatever you want about the 49ers, everybody's saying they could win without a quarterback, and that's not very far from the truth, because they got all the other things around it. So in reality, if they get that one in there, that is huge.
Sonny, listen to this. 4 years, $84 million. You're talking $21 million a year.
Yeah, 21. That's a hell of a number
for a guy that had maybe 10 sacks, I think, this year.
Yeah, it's definitely a money grab. Oh, here's your guy. Here's your guy.
Yep, that's one of them.
I saw. Yeah, and I really when I said that, I was like, finally, okay. If you're not going to go get it in the draft, you go get this guy. I'm sorry, you do. And so I thought that was save for whatever you want. That was a huge signing for them. Wow, love it. And what was there was another one that happened early. Cam Sutton to the Lions.
The Lions. That's where he went.
Yeah, he went to the Lions, and I think, well, you see the Patrick Peterson thing, right? So kind of thing going on here. Although Sutton is probably definitely better than that, but if you're going to lose him, go get something, right? So it's just like, I don't know. How about this one, Cuervo? This one hurt my feelings. But then again, the Jaguars were not going to pay this. The Jaguars were not going to pay this contract. Simple as that.
And that's okay with that. You should be okay with that.
Parts of me are, parts of me are not. I want them to spend money like they did last year. And this was a move that if they didn't make some of the moves they made last year, maybe they could have done something about it. And I think this is the first one of the things that fall for Jacksonville based upon what they did last year. This one will be a hole in that spot. The question is, what are they going to fill it up with? And I don't know what that answer is. However, next week, I'm trying to bring on the man, the myth, the only one that we know about the Jaguars better than Sonny, which is not really hard, but I know a lot. I'm going to try to get Tom McManus started. And the reason why I wanted to do that, I wanted to see what they do this week as well for Jacksonville, because they haven't filled that hole yet, or how they're going to fill it up. And Tom will have that answer for us. So I'm trying, depending on the schedule, I'm going to try to get him on next week, talk a little Jaguars on there. So just
there you go. Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to get Tom back on and get that squared away and get his opinion on it. Because you want to talk about a team that's been quiet. outside of losing this guy, I mean, Jaguars it's been crickets, and it's been crickets because of the moves they made last year, which, so now the crickets aren't, rubbing their legs together. So that's what you got going on there. So,
Right.
Like, but yeah, I mean, what a week. I mean, what a week of free agency. This was probably one of the better off-season, let's get free agents first weeks that we've had in a while. I mean, because literally, Cuervo, we could have came on 3 days this week and talked about moves that were made. We could have won 3 days.
They were coming in fast and hot.
Oh man, what a bad time to start a new job and killing old Sonny's brain. So that's what that was mainly what and then I started getting pulled 3 different directions. So that's where all that comes from. But what a good week. And hopefully next week, there's still some big names out there, Cuervo. I mean,
Yeah, there is.
In fact, I had some sort of list of, it was like the top 100 guys that were still available on there, and I'll tell you some of the names that are there. Dalton Schultz is still out there, the tight end they used to have from the Cowboys. Bobby Wagner, did he actually sign? I don't know I thought he signed. Bobby's still out there. Adam Thielen, I've been hearing some rumors about where he may end up. A couple of places out. Melvin Ingram's out there. Frank Clark is still out there. Kyle Van Noy is still out there. These are names that even if you're not deep, you've heard of these names. Now Ezekiel Elliott's still out there. I think he ends up at Cleveland or Cincinnati. Which, by the way, let me just point this out: Cleveland or Cincinnati. Cleveland right now, I think, is playing a dangerous game with their number one. I think they're playing a dangerous game. And if they don't watch it, Nick Chubb may not be a guy. Now, what I hate, and I hate to admit that Colin Cowherd might be correct. If you're a football team wanting to pay huge ass money to running backs, you're not thinking right.
No, absolutely not.
Well, he went through. I mean, we're talking years down the road. I forget what year it was, but where they paid a lot of money for a running back. Big, and when the last time one of them got to the Super Bowl, not even necessarily won the Super Bowl, Cuervo, but got to him. I was like, God, he's making perfect sense. You're spending all this money. You really could have spent money elsewhere for the better results from most football teams in the NFL. So I hate the fact that he brought that up and I didn't pick up on it. Well, no, I kind of picked up on it, but I think he articulated it a little bit better than me. I think that's what made me mad, because I've said what he is saying, but I just didn't articulate it enough. And plus, I don't have the hours or the researchers to go back to see what kind of impact those running backs were doing. The only thing I had to really look at is Ezekiel Elliott stealing money from the Dallas Cowboys because they got a stupid general manager and the owner. So which tells you a lot of things there too. So, all right, my man, I know you got to go because I know. Hey, congratulations, dude! I'm telling you right now, when you buy a home and you're with someone that you want to be with, that's actually that's life changing. Congratulations on the life change.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the pictures. You only put the outside. You didn't put the inside up.
No, well, there's nothing to see yet. But yeah, no, we haven't.
Well, no, I mean, I don't mind seeing bare walls. I want to see what I see. I'm a fan of this is what it was, and this is what it is now. I like the before and after pictures.
What's the thing? How it's starting and then how it's going.
Yeah. I don't care about the endpoint. That's you got to worry about that. You get. But by the way, I thought I had a bad honeydew list. Your list just extended another mile. By the way, just so that you know. So yeah.
Oh, the weight.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're doing it in style in a brand new white Cadillac. Or
Yeah.
no, if he's smart, he's going to rent a U-Haul so he doesn't have to put it in the Cadillac. So there you go. Or you got a truck too, don't you? Don't you got a pickup?
I do have a pickup. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got a pickup.
So you're going to utilize the pickup and make it do. You're going to be hanging out. You're going to be hanging out at the Home Depot a lot. I have a feeling. So, but congratulations, that's awesome. The outside of the house looks magnificent, by the way.
Yeah. And I'll have to send pictures too. The backyard is, I mean, there's no maintenance. It's all concrete.
Oh, you got see, now that's the kind of house, the ones I bought where I buy big yards where I got to mow the damn thing, trim bushes and all that other nonsense. Listen, I don't care what anybody says, it's overrated. The peace and tranquility I get from mowing the lawn. No, bull malarkey. I'm calling bull on that already.
Mowing grass ain't fun.
No, and especially in Cali where it's hot as hell and you got to mow the damn lawn in the middle of summer. That's a hard sell.
Yeah,
so that's why I like apartments. So if something breaks, I don't have to fix it. I just pick up the phone. You got to replace the water heater. Sonny, don't do that. But you're younger than me, so this is what you're supposed to be doing. So, but congratulations, nice house.
Thank you.
That's beautiful, and I'm happy for you. I just see your life where it's going from when we started, 13, 14 years ago, where you started and where you're going, and you still being a part of the team here. I'm so proud of you and so happy for you as well. And so good. I've seen some of you. You're packing it up. I see some of the boxes, and next to your name there, you got some boxes working over there on that side. You're already starting.
Oh yeah. I got some stuff starting to pack up or whatever, and downstairs we got a corner just full of boxes. So I mean, because we have time.
When do you move in?
We're not going to move in until the middle of April. Our first mortgage ain't due till May 1st.
There you go. So you got. See, that's always good too. So you can pack up it slowly. You don't have to do it like in a rush. That's always better.
Well, and here's the best part. So, from when I retired from the military, they give you one last move that the government will pay for. They'll have movers come out. They'll have a company come out, and they will move everything for you. So,
and is that this move into this house?
This is going to be this move.
The bomb. So you don't have to worry about your back, man.
Which my back thanks me for that.
Let them move the heavy stuff.
They're gonna move the heavy. We're gonna take little stuff. We're gonna take our clothes, start setting up our closets or whatever. So
all that stuff.
There's a his and her closet in the bedroom, which is really nice.
His and hers?
Yes.
No, it's not. You're wrong. I just want to tell you, you're wrong. It says that it's a his and hers. It's hers. You will be having your stuff in the second bedroom. That's where so
no, Sonny. What I mean is there's two separate closets in the master bedroom.
And I'm telling you,
there's one that's bigger. There's one that's bigger than the other, and that's the one, of course, that she's gonna get. I get the smaller one. And I'm fine.
Get the even smaller one in the second bedroom. So I'm just giving you a fair warning, okay? Because once she gets going, and she's gonna be, where am I gonna put the rest of my shoes?
Hey, let me borrow some of your space. What the heck? Yeah.
That's sweet. But anyway, that always have fun with that. I always like laughing about that. I don't believe half the crap I put out there, so it's just, but it's funny.
Now you got me worried. So.
Your wife's gonna go, damn that Sonny Clark.
Not putting ideas in his head.
I've heard that from many wives, by the way. Damn that Sonny Clark. I'm such a good I leave such a good impression. So Well, I gotta let you go because I know you got things to do. I only had you till noon. I still 7 minutes of the noon. So
Yeah, we are going to the new place today. Some family's gonna come. They want to come see it, and
of
I'll get you
course,
some pictures.
yeah. Do the before and after, man. I want to see it, and
Mhm.
it'll be fun to see the progress too if you decide to do the progress. But the before and after are always cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll get those for you. I'll show you the backyard. Not only is it all concrete, but I got my own little barbecue area too. It's got a grill and a sink.
Ah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Watch out, turning it up. I like that. I like that. Hey, and I like the length of your hair too, by the way. You don't go as much as you used to. So, I like the length of your hair. You actually got hair. I kind of wondered if you actually had hair or if you were like me, but you actually got hair.
Well, I recently trimmed it. It was a lot longer on top.
Yeah.
If you go back and you watch the past couple shows, you'll
Oh,
see it
yeah.
was longer on top. I just
Yeah.
recently trimmed the top, and then of course I got the low and tight now because I don't have to get a high and tight no more.
That's where I saw that. I laughed about that. So what I'll do is I'll download this cut where I'm talking like Alvin and then bring it on in. So
Okay.
go
That'd
from
be
there.
fun.
I had to do it last week too. It's just like my brother says, "Wait, you imitating Alvin today?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" He says, "You sound like a chipmunk." I was like, "I didn't know that." I was flying solo, though, of course. So there
I
you go.
thought it was me. I refreshed my page like 2-3 times, and I'm like, why is it coming out like this? And then Anthony Price was, he made the same comment
Yeah.
about your sound is messed up. And I'm like,
So what
oh,
I got to do is I'm gonna grab my brother, before I start the show and make him get on to see my mic is set up correctly or whatever. Because I moved to the headphones and got a new computer and everything. So it's not the old setup that it used to be where it was flawless. I just showed up and boom, there it was. So I'm gonna have to play with it a little bit and find out why it's doing that. So I also got I moved the speed up of my computer, so I upgraded for speed. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it either. So I'll have my brother check it next week before we get on air. So, but I don't think you're going to be able to make it next week, are you?
I'll have to monitor what's going on.
Play it by ear.
Yeah.
We'll play it by ear, and we'll do that. We'll do that next week on the Couch Potato Sports Show. We'll talk about the other ones. I'll try to get Tom if Tom can be on this week. If not, it might be the week after. I give him a lot of time to answer me, so I don't make him a rush up. So we'll try to get McManus up on the show, get his take on the Jacksonville Jaguars as far as where they're going to go and what they've been doing here in the free agency, and see what he thinks about it. So that being said, for Cuervo and everybody else and all the crazy other maniacs up on this show, for the MVP Cuervo, I'm Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio. We'll see you next Sunday. Hopefully we'll get Bryce on soon, talk some Steelers too. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Yep. We're out here, everybody. Have a good day. Bye-bye.